Hi, welcome to Steam On. I'm Georgia,
And I'm Sally.
and today we're going to tell you a little bit about Steam On and what to expect from us.
STEAM On is a programme of creative activities running all summer as part of Essex 2020. We're taking STEM subjects, so that's science, technology, engineering and maths, and we're going to use arts activities to learn more about them. Georgia is our drama and writing person.
I'll be leading a drama activity every weekday, and sometimes I'll help you make up some stories and poetry as well. Sally is our art and design person.
I'll be showing you how to make some really cool craft projects and suggesting other ways you might like to get creative this summer.
Every day we'll release a new video and a worksheet to go with it. You can have a go at everything, or you can pick and choose which bits you like best.
Most of all, we want to see the fantastic work that you are making, so please do share pictures of what you're doing on our gallery.
Before each day's drama classes, we'll be doing a quick warm-up. This will vary depending on whether we'll be using our bodies or our voices, but it might involve stretching, shaking out your limbs so you're nice and loose, humming or pulling funny faces.
Art and design projects will include all sorts of things as well. For today, let's get started with some craft activities that will set you up for a summer of creating.
So today we're going to make our own notebook. You'll want pages, a cover, and something to tie them together with. I'm going to make a notebook that is A5 size. You can make any size you like, but an A5 size is about half the size of a normal piece of printer paper. So I've gathered together all the different pages that I want. You could choose all one kind of paper or a mixture. I prefer a mixture. And they're all different sizes, so I'm going to cut them down to an A5 size. So for all this A4 paper that I've got, I'm folding that in half, nice and tidy, and then I'm folding it back again and using that fold line to cut a lovely straight line down the middle of the paper. Lots of my paper is quite white and boring, and I'd like some more colour and some more texture, so I'm going to colour it in a little bit with some pens and pencils. I think it's quite important with a notebook that you're using for science and art reasons to have all different colours and textures going on. So I'm going to use some bits of craft paper, some printer paper, some lined paper. I'm going to trim bits down to size. I'm also going to use some tissue paper because that's light and crinkly and very different to printer paper. So I'm going to lay that over one of the other pages, draw around it, and then very carefully cut it out. And you must be careful not to chop up all your other pages when you're doing that. Maybe move them to one side. Next job is to shuffle all your pages together and put them in the order that you want. So I'm mixing all of mine up. I'm going to pop an envelope in there as well because I think that could be fun at some point. I'll be able to hide something in there. And then shuffle all your pages together in a nice tidy pile. Don't worry if there's a few bits sticking out the side. Sometimes a notebook is hard to start working in if it's too tidy and too perfect. And this one's for all your creative ideas. Plus I think it just looks a bit nicer being a bit rough around the edges. We're going to make some holes in it now so that we can tie it all together. So get yourself a big lump of sticky tack or plasticine or something else soft and pop that underneath a few of the pages. Get a nice sharp pencil and very carefully poke a hole through. You might want to get a grown-up to help a little bit with this. It can be a bit fiddly. A sharp pencil is usually the best thing to use, but you can also use a hole punch if you've got one of those at home. And it is best just to do a few pages at a time because a pencil struggles to get through a whole pile of pages and it can break. So just do a little handful, 4 or 5 pages at a time is usually about right, dependent on the paper that you're using. And to make sure the holes line up, just pop it onto the next set of pages, make a little dot where each of the holes is, and then you know where to go from. Then you're going to want to stack up your pages, make them nice and tidy again. Next we're going to be looking at the cover. So for the cover I'm going to use fabric, but you could draw a lovely picture and use that as the cover. You can use anything. So to measure out the cover, I'm going to lay my notebook on top, all the pages, and then I'm going to measure around it what size do I need my cover to be. So it's going to be 15 centimetres by 21. And I'm going to draw that out on the back of the fabric, so the side that you're not going to see. Just like the pages, you don't need to be too perfect about this. Try and make it nice and straight, but if some of the corners are a bit wonky, that doesn't matter. So draw that out nice and tidily, and then we're going to very carefully cut round it with scissors. Fabric can be a bit trickier to cut round if your scissors aren't very sharp, so take your time. And it can be a good idea as well to get a grown-up to help with this. Just the first time you're doing it at least. Next we're going to be making some more holes in the cover. And again, the fabric is just a little bit tougher to get through sometimes, so take your time with it. And we're going to use exactly the same thing, big lump of sticky tack or plasticine or similar, and a sharp pencil. So we're going to use the top page to mark where the holes want to be. Just make a little pencil mark in each of those 2 holes, and then we're going to try and poke the pencil through and into that sticky tack again. I think it's really important to have a notebook for the start of this project, because whether you're an inventor, a scientist or an artist or a bit of everything, it's important to have somewhere to jot down your ideas and make notes. And I think it's lovely if that thing that you're making notes in is something you've made yourself. Next we're going to make the back of the notebook, so you've got something to press on when you're doing your writing and drawing. And it's exactly the same as making the cover. We're going to measure round. It'll be about the same size, or it might be slightly bigger, so I think I've measured there about 16 by 22 centimetres. And again, rule out a nice rectangle. Try and keep it quite straight, but we don't need to worry too much about it being perfect. And then we're going to cut that out and again make some holes in it. You can use anything for the back. A piece of cardboard is the best thing. This one's out of a cereal box. You could use any kind of parcel box, any kind of corrugated card, or craft card is good as well. The back off an old exercise book works really well. Anything that's just a little bit stiffer than paper is best. Great, so we're going to make those holes again, make the marks to line them up, and then punch a hole through with a pencil. And again, you can use a hole punch for this if you've got one, so long as your cardboard isn't too thick. Now we're going to stack everything up tidily, and we're going to thread through something to tie it together. So you could use a ribbon or a piece of string, and you'll just very carefully thread that through every hole round the back and back through to the front, and then you can tie it off. I'm going to use a pipe cleaner because it's super duper easy. There's no knots to tie and it threads through really nicely. But you could use any piece of string or ribbon or even a piece of wire. So you're going to thread them all through. It's just like putting beads on a necklace. Bring it round the back and thread through on the other side as well. And you can decide whether you want the join at the front or the back. You might want to make a feature of it and make it beautiful, but I'm trying to hide mine, so I'm going to put it at the back. Put it nice and tight, twist it up, and then just fold it back on itself and tuck it in. The nice thing with a pipe cleaner is that you can just squeeze it into place and you don't need to tie it off. And there you go. You've got all these lovely mixed pages and that envelope in there. If I were doing this with a ribbon, I might choose to tie it in a little bow or in a little knot. And a bow is a good thing because you can undo it if you want to add more pages later on. And it's the same with the pipe cleaner. You can untwist that and make more pages if you fill your notebook up. But the nice thing with a bow as well is you can put it on the front and it looks lovely. Tomorrow we'll be learning about machines and making our own conveyor belt. So you can start using your notebook right away. You might want to put your name in the front or something like that.
We've got something really cool lined up for you tomorrow, all on the subject of machines. So we'll see you then.
See you tomorrow.